Evening, everybody. Welcome to a little extra episode of Chuck's Chats, a little mini Chuck's Chats, a little vignette if you want. We've had the most remarkable season in the history of the club this year. I remember being at a rugby meeting here back last June when Ben Keeley put up our 4 KPIs, targets, goals, whatever you want to call them. And it was win the Spencer Cup, win the All-Ireland Cup, win the Leinster League, and win the promotional playoffs. And I'll be honest, I laughed and I said, why don't you throw in win the Heineken Cup as well while you're at it? But here we are, 9 months later, and we've absolutely had a clean sweep with what was a new coaching ticket that took over here last August. So I think it's important that we recognise the great work they've done last year and confirm that we're all in place, same team again for next season. So Ben Manion, well done, sir. What a season, you won it all.
It was a memorable season, yeah. We came in, all 3 of us came in new. Knew there was a challenge, but knew there was a team that was ready to win. It was an AIL club in everything, just sort of stuck in purgatory, I think we talked about a lot. But we did our little bits and pieces, but we had a playing group that bought in and worked hard and enjoyed themselves and fought for one another, and we started winning, and then winning
momentum
gains, and winning solves everything, and we just grew from there. So now it's about momentum and taking the next step.
Okay. And Peter O'Donnell, new forwards coach for the season. So we bookended. We started the league with a loss, and we ended with a loss. But in between that, we went on 11 games unbeaten in the league, 4 games unbeaten in the All Ireland Cup, Spencer Cup final, and then 2 playoffs. So we've got momentum, as Ben was talking about, and it was a great performance last year. What do you put that down to? As a new forwards coach, and let's be honest, you had 4 or 5 new guys in the pack to work with.
Yeah, I think as well, probably having to find different combinations in front row and second row as well. And so I think, as Ben said, the players deserve a huge amount of credit. We had a really good squad, a couple of guys come in and really added to that. So I think that the lads really, to be fair, took a lot of ownership and just rolled their sleeves up and got stuck in. So when it came to set piece time, I think we evolved and got better as the season got on, and I think we put in a huge amount of work both on and off the pitch to do that. So I think players deserve a huge amount of credit for that, and as Ben said, like I said, we had a really good group there. So once we kind of found our groove, I think we kind of got rhythm. Yeah, exactly, got a rhythm, exactly. So.
And Rory O'Loughlin, retiring from Exeter, straight into Bective Rangers. Yours didn't even hit the sofa at home before we had you in. A maiden, a rookie season as coach, and you've won all 4. Is it time to retire, Rory, from coaching? Or?
I was considering it, yeah, but I was told I couldn't go anywhere by most of the players, to be honest. They said they were all coming back again, so I think I had a great time. I really enjoyed it.
You had a fine back line to work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that a lot of them had probably been together here for 3 or 4 seasons, so they all kind of knew what they wanted to do mainly. And then we had a few great additions. Craig Cantwell came in, Ollie Swift came in, and they just added a new kind of dimension to the backline as well. So we had a good bit of continuity, which was easy for me. And then we also had players kind of step up from the seconds in big games throughout the year. I don't think I've been involved in a season with so many games. Like, we played a lot of games, and a lot of guys played a lot of minutes. So that probably showed towards the end. Lads were hanging on, but
22 competitive games we had this season.
Yeah. So
and look, they say about any team that a team is only as strong as its seconds, and we have very good seconds who continue to turn up to train against the lads for the promo playoffs, even though their season was over. There seems to be good squad culture, Ben, in amongst us.
Yeah, well, I thought it was kind of, you can see that in the way they socialise together. And, they were here every Saturday night, Paul Marks, and they pour them out of the door at whatever time. But that's really great, that sort of bonding. We had a couple of bus trips, they're close friends. And that, you can't buy that sort of stuff, and that transfers onto the pitch. You can see that they were willing to fight for one another. And that starts sort of in the club, in the culture, in the training, guys turning up, the seconds turning up no matter what was going on. It's great here for the facilities. You don't have to worry about the muck and the mud, but they were here in the wet, they were here in the cold. So we always had great numbers, and that says something about the group.
Yeah, it does, about the culture. Look, it's been a great season. That season is done and dusted now. If Carlsberg did seasons, it would have been our season. We look forward. Pre-season will be starting in July. It's a whole new ball game. We finally achieved senior status. We're back in the AAL. A lot of travel coming this year, but how do you think you're going to build on the momentum that we've garnered this year and the feel-good factor? And obviously that's going to help recruitment as well to put in extra layers for next season.
Not talking for the boys, but they've put in so much work this season that the foundations are there, the building blocks are all there. They're probably the same way I am. You can start to tweak and put a little bit more detail into it. We didn't do a lot of that heavy detail stuff last year. It was about getting a new group, getting to understand how we wanted to play, and then Peter getting the set piece right, and Rory getting the backs firing. So now those foundations are set. We've got the momentum. We've got a group. Hopefully, I think everybody will be coming back. We'll add to that group, and then we can start to put some more stepping stones onto it and really start to take them forward.
Because obviously the ambition for this year, without robbing somebody else's thunder, is let's do it in Estonians, do it Flower Valley. Now, without being arrogant, but that would be our ambition, is to try and go straight through 2C. We've got a good line out. It was a bit rocky at the start of the season, but it's now a solid supply of ball and we have a steady scrum. What sort of extras are you looking to layer on now, Peter, with your second season with this group of players?
Yeah, well, I suppose like Ben said, we want to make sure we have a good foundation, and if there's new guys coming in, we have to bring them up to speed and to how we evolve and progress during the season, so we can kind of hit the ground running. So definitely, we don't want to spend too long kind of going over stuff we did last year. We want to just get into it straight away. So I think you look at a lot of our lineups we did last year as an example. We had probably a lot of 4 or 5 man lines, for example. We want to try and push it on, maybe to do something a little bit differently or evolve what we're doing off those lines. If it's a 5 man line, for example. So everyone sees our games, Chuck, so they know all this. I'm not disclosing anything they don't already know, but yeah. So I definitely want to try and push the boundaries in terms of options that we have and tweak things. But I think that the DNA is already there and we've progressed really well. And look, that's often down to a few different things in terms of the start of the year, combinations, and guys getting to know how I operate and whatnot, and them me getting to know them getting to know me. So there's usually a number of factors for that. So hopefully the plan is definitely hit the ground running.
Absolutely, hit the ground running. And for you, Rory, you had a fine back line, you had a great fly half volley foot. Can't remember him kicking the ball once all season, right? He was dynamite on the list. What sort of extra layers would you be looking to add on now to the back line?
As you said, probably the kicking could come into it, but that, if you saw the first 20 minutes, which obviously you'd see of the last game of the season, that's probably the best we've been all year. And that's the level where hopefully be able to start the season with, and it comes down to cohesion and game feel. And I think probably the first half of the season was a new coaching setup. We were trying to get a point across and repeat ourselves quite a bit up till Christmas, and then after it was easy to go into a session and maybe add one thing. And we did that, and the most important points, we kicked a bit better when we had to put pressure on our teams. And we've come from a league where you have to win nearly every game. So if we have that winning mindset, we're able to get across the line in tight games like we've proven, we should be up the top end at the end of the season, and then ideally we'll have that muscle memory from close knockout games that if we put ourselves in that position, we back ourselves to go the whole way. So I think cohesion and building on what we did last year comes from players getting more comfortable with each other and being able to feed off each other.
And one thing we didn't mention was defence. I'm not sure who's in charge of defence, but the defence outstanding this season, got us out of so many holes. I think of that matchup in Dromore in the IIL Junior Cup where they actually dropped the ball over the line, but they were pounding our line and they just couldn't get in. Who's in charge of defence? Who takes all the kudos for that?
Well, to be honest, we didn't do a lot of defence.
So it can only get better.
It's a foundation. We put in some foundations to it, but it's an area that has a lot of growth in it as well. We'll take it a lot further than we have been. But again, we put in foundations and the building blocks to it, but that's attitude. 90% of that's attitude. The boys dug in for one another, fought hard for one another, were ready to stand in the trenches together, and that's half of what it is.
The great saying about attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. And I think the attitude is right. Look, thank you very much for your time. Fantastic season. Really hope you can emulate it next season, but we're in a very good place, and we're all looking forward to having you all back on board for, I think it's Saturday the 18th of September, first game. The draw hasn't been made, but I think that's the date. So best of luck, men.
Thank
That's
you.
a wrap.